After starting with just one win in the opening 4, we bounced back in an exact opposite way, last time out winning 3 of 4 and putting us at 500, sitting essentially at the trade deadline. And while there's a couple spots that I think this team could use some help, mainly a tight end too, as Dan Arnold, he's going to be turning 30 after this year, though he has started off really well, we couldn't find a trade partner that really fit. The other area of need is really our edge. With the left ends, every single one of these guys are going to be 30 plus years old. Shelby Harris very well might retire after this year. And then at right end, we have 2 younger options, but really only one who's starting caliber. If we were to make any moves in roster, it would have to be some of these outside linebackers shifting down, but again, we don't have much depth there. And again, we couldn't find anyone that wanted to give us a little bit of a deal. So there will be no more trades happening this season. We will keep our picks and see what we could do with them when it comes to the draft, if it comes to the draft. Braylon Dunn, he's pretty much the top potential target that we have. He is a playmaker style receiver, but he comes with basically no route running ability. D for medium and short, C for deep. He has potential for some solid catching ratings outside of catch in traffic, but we'll see if those actually end up coming to fruition. Outside of him, well, we have some depth players for the offensive line, mostly pass protectors, that they might be able to help us out a little bit. Defensively, there is one player that might be able to help out our need in Anthony Griffin, a day 3, but he has C block shedding, B power moves. Most likely would be depth, but we really need that moving forward. So this draft class, while it's not great, it has some potential. A depth guy here in Mitch Peterson for the cornerback spot with just C's across the board could be a guy to try to develop. So with no new players added and us finding an offensive playbook that really unlocked the true potential of this offense last time out, we move forward, hopefully going to see the full fulfillment of that playbook, keep this offense moving, and hopefully the defense can make some big plays along the way. So as we try to keep our winning streak alive, we jump in here in the 4th quarter. It is 17-14, but the Giants inside the red zone. Start with a little bit, some play action handed off down the middle, and they get 2 to Walker, averaging just over 3 yards per carry. Defense doing pretty decent in the run game here, but give up a nice chunk on second final push there. Makes it a 3rd and 1. Though with us only down 3 points, I would prefer we get the stop here, force yet another field goal as it's lofted. Instead, it will be by 10. Montrell Washington with a good cut, well-thrown ball. The Giants start to separate. Let's see if our offense can answer back quickly. Starting with the strong eye. 2 receivers go up top. It's Brock Purdy handing it off to Taylor, who will pick up 5. 11 rushes for him in this one, 40 yards and a touchdown. We finally saw him really take center stage of the offense last episode, which was what we were hoping to see, especially with our kind of lacking receiving group, though, saying that Bateman had a really good set of games. As we look for Quintez Cephas coming across the field, he gets the first up to the 38. And as time is running here in the 4th, we could use a couple big pop plays, especially with us still needing a stop on defense and another score. Down the middle, Taylor will pick up 4. Walker on the other side getting the stop. 2nd and 6. Look for a spread look here. Purdy quickly gets it out to Taylor. He's going to turn up and shuck off 1, but maybe just gain 1. Smith lays a big hit, brings Taylor down. We've got a 3rd and 4. 2 spread up top, plus Hawkinson got 1 down at the bottom. As Purdy looks to throw, we get it to the outside, and it is Bateman. Great grab for him. 3rd on the day, 38 yards. Purdy does have 2 interceptions, and that really is the difference maker in this game right now. But we still need him to continue to make some plays. As he spins, he throws, and he finds Quintez Cephas. Not exactly the drills that you run for the quarterbacks, but I guess if it works, it works. Ingold comes out at fullback as we go play action. Purdy once again dancing around in the pocket. We'll dump it off eventually as he finds the rookie in Alex Church, Derek Nottie, injured on the play for the Giants. Now we'll help us out in a way, though, as it stops the clock just over 3.5 minutes left here. We're down inside the red zone as we toss it out to Church, who finds a lane, shucking off, breaking away, though Walker drags him down at the 5. That could have been a huge play for us. Still a great play. 1st and goal. Purdy throws back of the end zone, though they say Ingle did not get 2 feet down. Looked extremely close. The fullback couldn't get the job done. So 2nd and goal. It is Hull back there at running back. Purdy, though, looking to throw and gets picked off in the end zone. Looked like a similar style play to what we just ran to Ingle. That time for Alan Lazard. That might be the final nail in the coffin. And indeed, it would be. So a 3-interception day for Brock Purdy ends the streak at 2. We start today off with a loss as we head into our bye, and then we meet top of the division Chicago Bears. Now, considering that we are very close in division, we will jump in and watch the quick sim portion as the first quarter comes to an end 7-7. Getting into the second quarter, we once again trade some scores. We take a lead here, and Chicago answers before half, but we end with a field goal, 24-21. We have already outscored what happened in the prior matchup, which was a loss. I don't think we have beaten this Chicago team yet in this series. So as we get into the fourth quarter here, we will jump in a little bit closer, see what happens. 3rd and 10, they get 13, and they're down inside the red zone. They are already up by 4, 28-24. They're at the 16. They go 2 spread down to the bottom, 2 tight ends at the top. Baker Mayfield in the pocket, looks for their tight end and will find him. He was the one who got the touchdown to win the previous game. We were playing a pretty good one. Brock Purdy was 70-some-odd% completion. We just couldn't get that last final stop as Baker checks it down here, finds a earth down. It was fumbled. It ends up making it a 3rd and 1 then as the offensive lineman jumps on it. Empty set now for 3rd and 1. We bring the blitz. Baker gets picked off by Sidney Brown. Cuts towards the top. He gets by the lineman. Baker Mayfield will drag him down at the 35. But it keeps all points off the board there for the Chicago Bears, keeping us within striking distance. With 5:42 left in this game, I wouldn't mind if we methodically move the ball down the field here. But definitely need a touchdown as Purdy rolls, throws, sending it right back to Chicago. He will get the tackle. It's another interception for Brock Purdy. Looks like Franklin Meyer injured for the Bears. He'll head off the field. Already out the get-go, looks like this is not going to be a great episode for Brock Purdy. He didn't have a great one to start this season, and he might be regressing from last episode. Downs, I believe, gets the catch. Gets a gain of 2. And yes, can confirm it is down. 2nd and 8. As they go 2 down to the bottom, 1 up top. Baker Mayfield gets a little bit of pressure, but swings it out to his running back, Josh Jacobs, who powers forward. 2nd, 3rd effort, gets the 1st. Of course, we modeled our new offensive playbook after the one modeled for him with the Las Vegas Raiders. 1st and 10, they're back inside the red zone. Jacobs, though, stuffed by the rookie, our Jacobs. He's had a pretty solid start to his rookie year. We're just challenging him to get a little bit more involved in the running game as they go back to Jacobs here, and that is a much better run. Make it 3rd and 2. Trips up top. Another quick throw, finding the soft spot in the coverage. Jay Jets with the 1st down. Make it 1st and goal at the 3. It's the I form. They hand it off Jacobs. Edwards slows him down, and he might have had some help. But if I read that correctly, it looked like Jacobs was close to 170 yards today. Might need to double check that stat following this play. But 2nd and goal, it's play action and touchdown Chicago. They find their tight end, Brandon Anderson. It's another 2-score game. And with bad news already, yes, can confirm Josh Jacobs on 19 carries, 168 yards. So with us down by 11, 2:19 left here at home. Another divisional game that has not gone our way so far. We are jumping out here with the offense as Brock Purdy does find Bateman, who will pick up the first down. Not much time left before the 2-minute warning. Will they get the snap off? They will not. Now, one thing we did notice last time out when we were rocking with Brock Purdy is that he has some awkward touch on the ball. Maybe that a cause for some of the weirdness in the passing game as Bateman couldn't find it. Pretty solid coverage underneath though. 2nd and 10. Purdy with a little hard count, no one jumps. Trying to get this one out to T-Hawk, and he will find him a little bit behind, but gets the catch and up out of bounds. Vikes need this to be a pretty quick drive here, as again under the 2-minute mark. As they had an option to Cephas early, instead is lofted up, and Allen can't find it either, tipped away. Simmons playing great underneath coverage on that one. Bringing out the heavy tight end look here for 2nd and 10. As Purdy drops back to pass. Good pressure up front. He rolls, he tries to find somewhere to go. Cutting up and picking up the first down. They do not call a timeout there, instead they get back to the line quickly. Under a minute and a half, tight ends go to the right-hand side. So we have 3 different targets, leaving just Bateman to the left, and a sack down the middle. Mozzie Smith. Interior primarily built to, well, block the run, not the pass. That's really just for our tackles. Didn't quite get the job done there. As it's back out for Bateman, and once again, he doesn't get the grab. Instead, Petrie nearly had a great diving play there. 3rd and 12. With trips to the right-hand side, quickly going to the opposite way, it's Hawkinson, and a great tackle from behind. 4th and 1. Timeout called here by the Vikings. Now, they could have went for the field goal, tried the onside, still leaving him a touchdown and a 2-point try behind, but instead they keep the offense out there. They got 3 options at the right-hand side. It's pretty good downfield, and it is a turnover on downs. That will be the game. Dexter Lawrence shucks Purdy to the ground, and it's 2 straight losses. After such a strong bounce back last time out, to start this one, it has not been the same team. Turnovers being a major cause of concern for Brock Purdy. In the weeks to follow, well, the losses would just start to snowball. 3 more tacked on, making it a stretch of 5 games in a row. The team couldn't get it done, with the worst being against the Seahawks, 24-3. And with 4 games left, well, the division is already out of hand. The Packers currently lead it 9-4, with the Bears being the next best and really the only one who could possibly do anything, as they're 2.5 games or so behind the Packers. Lions and ourselves are both 4-9. Of course, one of our losses involving the Lions keeping us at the bottom. And if there were any hopes of making something happen, well, it'd be wild card. And really, there are so many teams with better records than us. This season seems to have already slipped away. And partially, that could be due to the play of Brock Purdy. At this point, just 16 touchdowns, more than halfway through the season, 11 interceptions. He's completing barely over 60% of his throws. I don't think it's bad enough that we put Jimmy G or Tommy DeVito in. Purdy needs to figure out his stuff. Running game, though, Jonathan Taylor over 1,000 yards, which is great. The running game seems to be working as we were hoping it would. It's just simply the receiving game isn't working out. Whether that's Purdy, whether that's the receivers, we're going to find out, because we are going to shake up this receiving group moving forward. Defensively, while our top 2 inside backers are leading the team in tackles, that is what we want to happen. Tackles for a loss wise, no one quite at 2 digits, though Mafe is close. Then Epinesa. Our DTs a little bit down the line here in Benton with 6, and then the rookie in Jacobs has only had 3. However, he has had 3.5 sacks, which puts him 2nd on the team. So we're really just not getting sacks that often, not getting many interceptions either. And on top of that, Chase McLaughlin on his best season. He has missed an extra point and has missed 2 field goals. So we're leaving points on the board, we're leaving yards out on the field. And overall, the team might just need a little jolt with some youth. So in the final about handful of games, this is the lineup we're going to be rocking. Offensive line really doesn't change because it's honestly a really young offensive line and a lot of talent there. Tight end still going to have Hawkinson. Zylstra is going to move to tight end 2. Dan Arnold moving down to tight end 3. Now receiver, we're going to see a lot more of Kyle Traynor. He is the hidden dev rookie, only a 71 overall. Also going to see a little bit of Hutchinson as well as Johnson. Those two have seen occasional playing time and have done well. Rashad Bateman still going to stay at wide receiver 1 because, again, he's young. Running backs, again, staying the same. Defensively, the only real difference is going to come down to edge guys. Nelson is going to get a starting spot at left end because he has a little bit of some block shedding ability. We'll also see a little bit of Dowling and Andrews. Let's try to get a little bit of a rotation there. Get Saunders and Henningsen maybe sometime at interior nose tackle essentially, but Jacobs and Benton, I want to keep them out there. Inside backer the same. Dowling and Andrews will be the backups for the outside linebacker spot as well, and the corners and safeties staying the same because, again, it's a very young group. And considering their first game is against the New York Jets, who are just 6-7, this might be a decent look for us. So let's jump on in and just kind of play a little bit throughout. And before we could even jump in to watch a single play, we get a rookie Juan Morris going 100 yards on the kickoff to start the game. Couldn't have asked for a better way to get this one going. Now, I feel like we are going to focus a little bit more on the offense in this one, so we jump to our next drive, or really our first drive, as it's to Taylor on the quick swing out. Mostly want to focus on the offense because there are more guys that we're going to see out there. Defense, main starters didn't change all too much. As we hand this one off, it's Alex Church who will pick up 2. But really, we got to find out what's going on with Brock Purdy. A rough adjustment to playing here in Minnesota. 2 down to the bottom, 1 up top, as he's got time to dump it off. And there is, I believe, Kyle Traynor. Takes that one away from the DB. And what could very well be his first NFL catch, it's a first down gain of 14. Really hope that we see something from these young guys because receiver is an area of need as Bateman can't squeeze it. Couldn't quite tell who that was playing on the edge. Might be Davenport. That would be a funny little thing to see that happen. Traynor gets trucked on the screen. Be a no gain thanks to Edmonds. So 3rd and 10. Trips up top, got Hawkinson down to the bottom. Brock Purdy in the pocket. He's got some time. He rolls early and makes it harder on himself. And with that, the offense will have to punt away. And with the Jets taking it right back to essentially where we punted from. At the 36, Fields throws across the middle and drop. Josh Myers also a little bit shaken up on the play, so he'll head off the field for 2nd and 10. They go with a tight pistol look. Play action. Fields going downfield wide open. 10-5 and pushed out at the 2 by Sidney Brown. Perhaps coverage still sticking a little too soft. There are a couple other options we have for DBs and a couple other linebackers if we need to look at those. Though with passes like that, anyone's covered. Might have been the reason why he was traded to the Steelers then. 2nd and goal. 2 up top, 1 down below. Aaron Jones, the running back, as they hand it off to him. Great stop. Leo Chenal picks him up, slams him down. Of course, he's gotten a lot more playing time this year due to injury. 3rd and goal now. Fields throws and wide open. It is Jordan Addison into the end zone. Jets answer our kickoff touchdown. Now as we jump forward a little bit here to the start of the 2nd quarter, offense has driven into plus territory, primarily running. We stick with that as it's Alex Church. He picks up 3. We haven't seen Jonathan Taylor since that little swing out pass to start our offensive play. Hull's out here now as Purdy makes a change, sending the trips down to the bottom. Got 1 up top in Bateman. Clean pocket. Purdy goes deep and tipped away from Bateman. Good coverage. Maybe a little bit more zip on that one, a little bit more height. We might have made a play to Rashad. Instead, 3rd and 7. As Purdy continues passing the ball, we find T-Hawk going to get the first down just outside the 20. Only his 2nd catch on the game, but we have been more run heavy, and looks like we might go back to it here as Ingold steps out. No play action. We swing it out to him. He gets the catch this time. Could have used that, what was it, the Chicago game? Instead, pass was incomplete, eventually led to a interception and us losing that one. 2nd and 4. Handing this one off to Church with a cutback lane and down to about the 5. 8 rushes, 33 yards, not too bad for a simple power back. Doesn't provide much elusiveness to his game. As we go right back to him and getting taken down by the safety at the 1. Sure, I'm not the only one that would have loved to see a big truck stick on that. 2nd and goal, bunch up top, Traynor down to the bottom, as it will be a pass here from Brock Purdy. He rolls, he does not sit comfortable in the pocket, but he doesn't need to, and he could scramble in for 6. We retake the lead here in MetLife. And with a quick 3 and out from our defense, well, offense right back to it. We are at the 37 with 2 down to the bottom, 1 up top. Purdy quick throw is caught by Traynor. Takes a couple pops, but he holds on to it. So far, what we've seen from him is pretty solid hands. That is what we need, at least hold on to some of these passes. 2nd and 3, we go I form. Bateman down to the bottom. As we do look to throw, Purdy rolls up top. He will throw it out late. He finds Traynor, and he's down to around the 15. Purdy 10 of 13 to start. I think the big thing with him is that he really he doesn't have that zip on the ball. He's a touch-based quarterback, so we might need to fit our offense a little bit more around that. As he finds Hawkinson, who will not find the end zone, dragged down at the 1. But considering we're heading into the 2-minute warning here shortly, I would like to take off as much time as possible. Dan Arnold in motion down to the bottom with a goal line set. We hand it off. Church diving, no slipping in. He faked the dive. Either way, it extends our lead. Make it 21-7 here in the first half. However, the Jets trying to narrow that as they have driven down into plus territory. They've got 1 timeout remaining, about 35 seconds. Jordan Addison gets the quick drag, picking up a gain of 5. Fields, well, he's had a couple bad passes, 10 of 14, isn't too bad statistically. The bunch up top, 1 down below. 2nd and 5, they're saving that final timeout. Fields dumps this one off. He finds Jones. Will get to about the 20. Timeout still sitting in their back pocket. They will call it with 8 seconds left. And from there, they will settle for the field goal. So kicking this one at the 26, it's a 36-yarder. As it is up, it's an 11-point game. Now as we finally jump into action in the 3rd quarter, there's only about 2.5 minutes left. It's been a lot of field position battle and a good stop on the 1st down rush. It's a loss of 1. Davenport indeed. The 0 for the Jets makes it 2nd and 11. We still get the I form. Bateman to the bottom, Traynor up top. He's received a lot of targets today. As it's play action, pass rush. Brock's gotta get rid of that one. Instead, a split sack. Make it 3rd and 23. For a high 80s, maybe even low 90s at this point quarterback. Expected a lot more from what we've seen from Brock Purdy. As he rolls, he throws, he finds a target in Evan Hull. Though that looks like it will only set up a field goal attempt. Of course, that would put this thing back to a 14-point game. And McLaughlin hit from about 50. He's got the power. Accuracy is good. But into the waning few minutes of this game, Jets trying to find their way back in. They're at the 44, a chance for our defense to put the game away with a stop. Fields, he loads up deep, and it's a perfect pass. Hardman couldn't squeeze it. Hobbs with a perfectly timed hit not only jars the ball free, but actually shook up Hardman on the play. So 2nd and 10 then instead. A little pass rush from Jacobs forces Fields to bounce it. He finds some grass, but there's a flag down in the backfield, and this one is coming back. So 2nd and 20. Jets have had 2 great plays, both of which ended horribly for them. They do get a good play here, finding the 1st down strike across the midfield into plus territory at the 42. They got a couple options down below, 1 up top as Fields scrambles, decides to tuck and run. He's going to outrun Jacobs, diving down just shy of the 1st. Actually mark him 2 yards shy, apparently is where the jump started. With that 2nd and 2, Fields continuing to throw. Well lofted, maybe a little too well lofted. fact, maybe about 2 yards too high. Once again, receiver couldn't make the play. 3rd and 2, 2 up top. Got the tight end to the bottom. Fields throws to that bottom and jarring it free, Sidney Brown. We got a 4th and game type situation as the 2-minute warning hits at the same time. Trips down to the bottom, 1 up top. Fields across the middle and jarred free again by Sidney Brown. That would end up being the decisive play, and while we put in a majority of the young guys, we finally get ourselves back into the win column, though it was against an under 500 team. 24-10 though, we'll take any bit of good news we can get. And of course, with that, having to shout out some of those rookies from that game. Alex Church, 3.5 yards rushing, did have a touchdown. It's not an awful percentage, but he had a better game than Aaron Jones, who at one point was one of the league's best running backs. Receiving wise, Jordan Addison technically led the game, but for us, Kyle Traynor did lead us. 5 catches, 40 yards. He was a solid physical type receiver. And honestly, I don't really think there was much of a difference from one game's perspective of him versus Allen Lazard. And LaMichael Jacobs in the, what I believe was the quicker sim portion where we were just jumping through in between highlights, he did also pick up a sack. So the rookies, they came to play in this one. As we jump into the following game against the 7-7 Cardinals, we find ourselves down to the 37 following about a 30-some-odd yard play from Kyle Traynor. We hand this one off. Alex Church picks up 5. We're closing into the final couple minutes here of the first quarter. Both teams held at 0 so far. Pretty defensive as Church busts through, limited to 4.9 yards. There's been several instances of 4th and inches in this game. 3rd and inches here. Hand it back off and Church will finish it off, getting that first down to the 26. Now, we did not particularly try to take out Jonathan Taylor, but we have not seen him the last couple games. And he hasn't really been injured either. He's just, I guess, too fatigued. Purdy, he's got time to throw. Instead, he will tuck and run. First down and down inside the 10. He's scrambling around a little bit more than predicted. Blake Cashman gets the tackle on him. He's one of the guys that could be on this team as Church trucks through, shakes one, and into the end zone. 3 broken tackles on that play, puts 6 points on the board with a PAT. Will make it 7. Now as we jump into a drive here in the second quarter, once again following another big play from Kyle Traynor, 20 yards. We dump this one off and pick up 1 to Church. So we haven't really seen Traynor do anything while in game, but he has set up a couple good drives for us. We loft it, and we find, I believe, is Zylstra. First catch we've seen from him, it's a good one. 22-yard gain gets us down inside the 10. We go with a weak side pitch, and Church met in the backfield. Going to be a loss of 2 to 3. Derwin James read that one beautifully. Gilman also got involved in on the tackle. 2nd and goal. This time play action. Purdy spins, throws. He finds Dan Arnold, who cuts back towards the middle and essentially gets us back to where we were just a couple plays ago. But for 3rd and goal, we change up our look. Bunch up top. Purdy. He's going to roll to the bottom and can't get rid of it in time. Galloway with the hit will force a field goal attempt here. Will put us up by 2 scores. Jimmy G to hold it at the 13. McLaughlin's kick is good. And out of nowhere, Devontae Adams pops off for 66 yards. The only big play the Cardinals have had today comes just before halftime. With yet another play set up by Traynor, we get into field goal range 3 seconds before half. And McLaughlin's kick is good yet again, putting us up by 6 before halftime. But as the back and forth has begun here, we're about midway in the 3rd. And the Cardinals have driven down inside the 30, inside the 20 with a nice run here. Big block from 75. And a lead now taken by the Cardinal. Thanks to a great run from Breece Hall. Big ops to his O-line. But it's a good thing Traynor is going off. Another 25-yard catch setting us up at the 40 to try to answer ourselves, and Bateman can't hold on to a simple pass. Only assume he was expecting the linebacker there to tip the ball. Just simply went off his hands. Hand this one off to Alex Church. Makes a couple cuts. Gets a solid gain of 4. Again, he hasn't really been the big break running back. Consistently around 3.5 to 4 yards a carry. 3rd and 6, we're going to need more than that here as we throw. It is caught in tight coverage. And it's Tyler Johnson checking in, making a play from that slot receiver spot. We just haven't really used that position much. As we go with some play action, pass rush, throwing it out, finding Kyle Traynor into the end zone. The rookie's breakout performance continues, coming out of nowhere. Perhaps we should have been starting him all season. Purdy under pressure. He delivers a great ball, a little bit behind, but Trainor's able to catch it, turn up, and add on 6. But we're not done there. 2-point try as well. Bunch down to the bottom, one up top. Purdy looking to throw. As he rolls, trying to buy time, he evades the DT and will scamper in himself. We've taken a 7-point lead here in Arizona. As we're well into the 4th quarter now, we need the defense to hold that lead. 1st and 10 at the 45. Cardinals will pass, dumping off and finding about, again, 9.9. There's been a lot of inches situations here. Disley nearly found it there. Trips up top, the one running back, Breece Hall. Sam Howell, the quarterback, hands this one off on the stretch. We don't contain. Sidney Brown comes down with a clean tackle. But Hall closing in on 100 yards, gets his guys set up inside the 40. 2 up top, 1 down below. They hand it back off to Hall, who only gets slowed down by his own offensive lineman. So the safeties has got to come crashing down to get the tackle. Moss credited with that one. They're inside the 25, now only down a touchdown. Ace formation. And hard count does get the edge of the bottom to jump. Jacobs and one other does get the tackle, but due to the offsides, it's a 1st and 5. As they go with an RPO, swinging out to Adams, who's only had 2 catches but 2 huge plays in this one. And now LaMichael Jacobs, while celebrating, he's also going to head off the field here. Something perhaps to do with a wrist. Hopefully the trainer's able to get him back on the field quickly. We'll see Saunders step in his stead then. 1st and 10. They've got time to throw. Dumping it off to their tight end and stopped about 2 yards short. But it will make it Biggs versus Biggs. Goal line set. They hand it off. Breece Hall will dive in for the tied game. Disley a little shaken up on the play, but we've got a 21 point game. Just under 3 minutes left. Well, let's see if the offense can methodically move, find some points, and walk out of here with another win. Starts with a Purdy throw across the middle, finding T-Hawk. Purdy 16 of 24. Pretty simplistic game. He's really just been a straight-up field general, making nothing crazy happen out there as he hands it off to Church, who gains about 2. Nothing too crazy for his stat line either, but we're inside the 2-minute warning with a 3rd and 3. We got 3 up top. As Purdy looks to throw, he's got time. Spins and does not have the time any longer. It's a sack and we will have to punt, leaving them about 1:45 to make something happen here. As the punt is away, caught down at the 30, shaken off of one and then meets the next couple. I was wrong earlier. Devontae Adams, 6 grabs. He's over 120 yards. Need to make sure we limit his play to close this one out, as that one could have been picked. Pass off the mark from Howell. If Hobbs had his head on a swivel, could have potentially helped seal this one up. 2nd and 10, dropping back to pass. He's got some time. He's going to have to step up and run, is what Purdy should have done. Diving down makes it a 3rd and 3. And make sure our guys come through with a stop, but yet again we jump. That time Edwards plus another, but it's going to be Edwards who gives them the free first. Well, never mind a 3rd down stop. Instead of 1st and 10 of the 45, 1:08. They have 2 timeouts, we have 3. Howell dumps this one off. It is Adams, who's just going to get a gain of 5, though Andre James is shaken up inside 2 minutes, this will use one of their timeouts. So with just one remaining, they're barely inside plus territory. Trips up top, tight end at the bottom. They go Breece Hall and a big stop from Saunders. Cameron Dicker needs the 41 for a field goal attempt. And they're a little bit a ways from that. A first down just about will put them there. 3rd and 6. Howell going up top, and he finds his receiver well inside field goal range. I believe that was Jackson Smith in Jigba. Only his second catch. It's probably the most costly as they hand this one off. Looking for a little shake and bake, and eventually Moss comes down to get the tackle. We call our first timeout. 2 more remaining, 32 seconds, and we need the ball, hopefully with no points added for the Cardinals. Again, Hall shakes and bakes, tackled by Edwards. 3rd and 7. We're not calling a timeout at all. We let this thing run inside 15 seconds. Should have called one there. As they now go with a stretch, Hall finds a lane and puts them at a point where they could end this one. Timeout called. The field goal unit will head on out. This one was winnable. We're trying to ice the kicker. We call our own timeout. But it shouldn't have come down to this. 5 seconds left. Field goal unit out. It is up. And it's a win for the Cards. Again, we see this team. They are right there. They have the ability, especially with the breakout we've seen from Kyle Traynor. Just a couple things keep going not our way. We drop another, and we'll head into the final game of the season. And we'll kick this one off by getting through at least the first half, see how things are shaping up. It is a divisional game here for us in Week 18. Unfortunately, this doesn't lead to anything but the offseason. Now, we are bouncing back and forth, but as halftime hits, it is a 10-7 ball game. So let's slow things down a little bit, and we'll go through probably a majority of the game in this view, see how the team does, and jump in key situations, mostly plus field territory, maybe some red zone. Kind of depends on how often we do get there. 3rd and 7, it's a stop from our defense. So we'll get the ball back for the offense. Up a field goal here. Can we try to tack on some more? Well, knocked away by Wyatt. That's at the line. Church takes it for 2. 3rd and 8. We get 11 for T-Hawk. Would like to see a little bit more of that. Purdy throws it away. Then Bateman picks up 7. 3rd and 3. We get 7 back to Church. We really haven't seen anything at all from Jonathan Taylor the last half of the season, really. So we might need to check in on that injury report just to see if for some reason he is on it. We do stall out at the 33, and we go for it. Well, in that case, I think it's a good time to jump in. So as we're down to the 26, did check in with coach, and indeed, Taylor not on the injury report. He's just not out there. So harkening back to the end of season 1 where we just didn't see much of Taylor, but we see Traynor with all the space around him. This rookie might be the one saving grace of season 2. What a year for him. He has greatly taken advantage of his opportunity. Damian Lewis called with a holding, make it 1st and 20 for the Lions, and then getting it all back is Brian Robinson Jr. But Traynor having a great season, and I think he's earned himself a spot in the starting rotation next year. Marlon Williams throws it away. It's another stop for our defense as they punt it away. A heck of a punt. Starting back at our own 1. Can we work away? Well, 7 yards for Church will help out. Thrown away Brock Purdy. 3rd and 3. 4 picks up the first down. Church yet again. 3 back to Brock with a 3rd and 7 as we start the 4th quarter. It's a sack from Devontae Wyatt. We will punt away. We're up 10 points here as Godwin gets a rush of 2 yards. Then 16 goes Jake Ferguson. He's another guy who could potentially be on our team. Kalen Saunders pops in with a sack. 2nd and 17. 13 goes to Zay Jones, leaving just 3rd and 4. And they pick up the first down, and I think we could jump in from here. So Charbonnet sets them up at the 37. They got a bunch up top, 1 down to the bottom. Looking for a simple pass. Yes, they do. Dump it off Ferguson, and just shy of the first. Williams 14 of 20 passing. Only a touchdown for the Lions today. Defense have done well. Need them to finish with a 2nd and 1. RPO finds the first down. Once again, they go back to Ferguson. Inside the 25 now. It's a heavy tight end set as Williams takes a 7-step drop back, dumping it off for another tight end, and they pick up 6. The 3rd catch on the day for Gray. 2 spread either side now inside the red zone as Williams, looking for another option, drifts back, has to step up, evades the rush just to throw it away. I want to say there's been a few times we wish that Brock Purdy did that for us. So 3rd and 4, 2 tight ends towards the top. The receiver either side, but they hand it off Robinson, and he is stuffed. Austin Dowling getting the stop. He's having to help fill in the linebacker role as Edwards is out this game with a practice injury. But the Lions tack on a field goal with just 3:47 left in the season. Can we get one more divisional win? We hand this one off. Church right down the gut, powers forward, picking up the first down. 13 rushes for him on the day, 65 yards. Him and Taylor could be a great 1-2 punch. I just wish that they were both being used at the same time rather than one used heavily, then can't play, and then the other one then used heavily, as we got to throw that one away. Brock Purdy just barely above 50% completion in this one. Still hasn't been a clean game for our offense. As we go with a draw here to Hull, he will pick up 2. 7 rushes, 26 yards. He does have a touchdown, but he definitely isn't ready to be a second running back, which is why, again, I prefer a better rotation with our true top 2. 3rd and 8 as we're letting the play clock roll down to 2. Purdy, he's going to roll down to the bottom, lofts it down towards the sideline, tipped, it's caught by Johnson, down inside the 25. Great awareness to find the ball following the tip. He hasn't really had the same opportunity as Traynor has, but we've seen some big plays from Johnson. Haven't seen much from Hutchinson, and he's been out there a little bit as well. Hull, though, takes the carry. Strong rush, and that's unfortunate to see. Kyle Traynor injured on the play. He will head to the sideline. Looks like a potential shoulder injury. He's had a really fantastic handful of games here late, which we put him in earlier, but that will provide Hutchinson a little bit more opportunity. 2nd and 2, we hand this one off. Church, first down. Stopped at the 11 as now Quinn Minor's shaken up. Fortunately, his appears to be a little bit more serious. He heads to the tunnel right before an off season is really unfortunate. It'll bring out A.J. Jackson as we get stuffed in the backfield. Actually, no, they do credit us with about an inch gained. Call it 2nd and 9 then. 2 spread. To the top, 1 to the bottom. Church takes the handoff. Good block there from Johnson, getting to the 2nd level. Makes it a 3rd and 5 as the Lions calling timeouts. They've got 1 more remaining. They're down 7. We're trying to extend that lead as we hand it off to Church, who will hit the outside, though stopped. And the offense is going for it here, trying to put the nail in the coffin as it is Church into the end zone, and he is sprinting home to start his off season. All right then, Church, we'll see you later. We'll follow right on behind him. It is a divisional win, a rivalry win against the Lions here late in the season. Unfortunately, that doesn't open any doors for us. 24-10 is the final game of the season. And there was some good to see today. Unfortunately, it was not the playoff push we were looking for. And now we can look to close out the season officially with a 7-10 record. We do finish above the Lions, so really that game was for last in the NFC North. And we finished with a slightly better record than we had season 1, which was the same as what the Lions finished with, 6-11. So we improved by 1 game. Despite the massive improvement that we had to the team, bringing in several key players via trades. It is the Packers that go on and win the division, 12-5. Bears, 10-7. They also make the playoffs. As for ourselves, well, we, in actuality, were just about 2 games outside the playoffs. Again, we finished 7-10. So did the Panthers, the Seahawks. The Eagles and Cardinals also finished 8-9, with the final team Giants making the playoffs at 8-9, a losing record. So we really weren't that far off. A couple of these close games that we had many of go our way, we could have found ourselves sneaking in. But sneaking in is not what we want. We want to make it in true fashion. And to do that, we need to clean up the turnovers. Brock Purdy in the second, I would say more last quarter of the season, did improve that. But still, we did not see what we should have for Brock Purdy. What his ratings are, we gave up 4 first-round picks for him. We should have gotten a lot more from him. Only 63% completion on top of it, just not good enough. He was sacked about twice a game, which there's far worse in the league. As for rushing, Jonathan Taylor, well, they say that he played in 15 games, but we really did not see him in the final handful of games. He had 538 downs played. Church, only 200 less, so I'd expect a little bit more from Taylor. He just can't stay on the field. He finishes with 5.5 yards per carry, 8 touchdowns. Church also had 8 touchdowns. Purdy did scramble the ball in 3 more times, but he did also turn the ball over 2 more times. And Ingold had 4 touchdowns. He also fumbled. Evan Hull, running back 3, had a touchdown and a fumble. Overall, if it's just these top 2 rotating throughout the year, I think would be fantastic at the running back spot. Receiving, Bateman ends with 882, 5 touchdowns. Hawkinson was second. That is the stretch we were really looking for. We want Bateman, then Seahawk, and then a handful of other guys could definitely get the job done. I think Traynor, though, potentially could take over for Allen Lazard in the next year. He looked really good with his limited plays, a little under 200 snaps compared to Allen Lazard's about 650. The stats, if you do the correlation, are very similar, if not could be better, with a hidden dev guy I'm hoping will be at least a star when that unlocks next year. Blocking wise, it wasn't a fantastic year for the rookie in Desmond Fulton, 11 sacks given up, but everyone else did really well, and Trevor Penning, despite not being much of a pass blocker, actually held his own really well, which is great to see. So the offensive line is set for the future. Defensively, by 1 tackle, Leo Chenal does get the tackle leader over TJ Edwards, 111 to 110. As for tackles for loss, it is Mafe. Benton had 8, then Epinesa with 7, as well as Lowry. As for sack leader, it is also Mafe. Then split for second place between AJ Epinesa and the rookie in LaMichael Jacobs, who both had 4.5. As for interception leader, it is Leo Chenal. We only had 3 interceptions the whole year. As for fumble recoveries, we had 2, so we only forced a turnover 5 times this year. That is not good enough. Now, Chase McLaughlin did finish the rest of his year pretty well from the previous look we had at the stats. Only those 2 missed field goals and the 1 extra point. Overall, pretty solid. But who knows? Perhaps those 2-3 kicks that were missed could have swung a game or 2, and we find ourselves in the playoffs. So heading into our second off season where there isn't going to be that many players available. We've already brought in pretty much all the guys who could really make a big impact outside of a few very highly rated guys that would be nearly impossible to trade for with the trade that we did for Brock Purdy. We'll probably quickly get through the offseason next time and straight into season 3 where we expect that we start correcting some of these little mistakes, pulling off those closer wins, doing well in our division. That has to be first and foremost. And with that, hopefully we'll find ourselves into the playoffs for the first time season 3. So stick around, hit the bear icon on the bottom right, or scroll down, hit the sub button. This series every single Tuesday and Thursday. Monday, Wednesday, Friday is college football. So if you want to see some of that, check that out as we have the Stanford Cardinal dynasty trying to rebuild a former powerhouse. We've got a lot happening, but we hope to see you there.